What's up? This is your man Dre Mack, and on this particular video, I'm giving you the highlights of day 8 of the Jonathan Majors trial. Now, mind you, we're getting ready to do day 9, so I want to give you all of the highlights to get you up to date on what's going on in this case. Of course, I'm going to talk about the text messages that took over the headlines, but there was also way more information that should have been a headline that got drowned out by the text message. So let's get into all of this. But the real question is, all right, so I'm going to go over People Magazine's article about all the text messages that on September of 2022 that, Stephanie McMahon and Jonathan Majors went back and forth on. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I personally believe this is completely out of context because of the way the timeline works. And to me, because it's out of context, I feel like it's painting Jonathan in a more worse light than what it is, which the reason why they took over the headline. So I'm going to read this, we're going to go over it, and then we're going to go from there. Let's get into it. In text messages between Jonathan Majors and accuser Stephanie McMahon, the Marvel actor appeared to admit to physically violence against the now ex 6 months before Majors was arrested in March and charged with assault in a separate domestic violence case. I fear you have no perspective of what could happen if you go to the hospital, Majors texts Stephanie, 30, in September of 2022. They will ask you questions, and as I don't know, you'll actually protect us. It could lead to an investigation. Even if you do lie, they suspect something. In that message, Major also stated it's just fake. But based on the messages put in evidence, it is not clear what he was calling fake, and no context was provided in court. In text messages displayed to the jury and read into the record by Stephanie on her 4th and final day on the stand, Stephanie appeared to assure Majors that she would not blame him for allegedly causing injury to her head. Allegedly. I will tell the doctor I bumped my head, Stephanie cried as she read out loud. Then, unable to continue through her tears, Assistant District Attorney Kelly Galloway took over. I will tell the doctors I bumped my head if I go. I'm going to give it one more day, but I can't sleep and I need stronger painkillers. That's all. Why would I tell them what really happened when it's clear I want to be with you? The text message was previously mentioned by the prosecutors in 115 pretrial filing in October and considered monolith evidence, which in the state of New York Unified Court System defines as conduct that is inextricably interwoven with the Charges Act and which may provide necessary background information or explanations to Charges Act. In that filing, prosecutors mentioned medical records from London's related to an incident that occurred in September 2022. That earlier incident of alleged abuse had previously been ruled admissible, but in a series of cross-examinations questions which preceded Judge Michael Gaffney had laid like specifically, the defense opened the door to prosecutors being able to share with the jury text messages regarding that prior incident. The judge told lawyers Friday. On cross-examination earlier this week, Paresh Chaudhry, one of Major's defense attorneys, had drilled Stephanie about why the morning after alleged March 2023 incident, the woman had told emergency personnel that she did not remember how she became injured. Gaffney said Friday morning that Chaudhry had asked the question in an effort to impugn Stephanie's credibility, even though there might be another reason she was not forthcoming. In those September 22 messages, Majors had responded to Stephanie threatened suicide if his then girlfriend went to the hospital for her head injuries. Last night I considered killing myself versus coming home. Majors wrote to Stephanie, added, I need love too, or maybe I'm just a monster and a horrible man. I don't deserve it, and I should just kill myself. In this way, my existence is just miserable. I want to die. Stephanie, who was in court, tuned into the direction of the projected text messages, had responded, I would not go to the doctor if I do not feel safe, if you do not feel me safe going, or don't trust me to. I promise you I would never mention you, but understand your fear. Telling her that she could not reject his love and admonishing her for not hugging him after the alleged fight. Majors noted by text, "I will probably kill myself. It's not really contemplating anymore," he added. "I am a monster, a horrible man, and not capable of love. I'm killing myself soon." "Jonathan, you can't say this. I'm going to have to tell someone." Stephanie responded by text, noting her perceived error in not hugging him. As the text message was read aloud to the juries, Major, seated at the defense table in a black suit and white collar shirt, kept his head down, hands in his lap, his biters on the note shut. When prosecutors finished reading the messages, the actor looked briefly at the jury. The details of the September 22 incident were not further detailed for the jury, as that earlier incident is still otherwise precluded from coming into the trial. However, the 115-page file reviewed by People, prosecutors listed a series of text messages by Stephanie in September 22, only some of which were shared by the jury, which included, per prosecutors, photograph of a hand, shoulder, and buttocks, along with text about punching, discussing pain, and as they shared with the jury Friday on September 22nd, a text with JM using Major's initials as re-medical treatment. In court Friday, Galloway then moved on her redirect questioning of Stephanie to March 23 incident, asking Stephanie why she initially told emergency personnel that she did not know how she became injured. "I was just scared of the consequences of it," Stephanie answered. "I still wanted to protect him." Miss Stephanie, Galloway asks, "Do you know who caused your injury on March 25, 2023? "I do," Stephanie added. The defendant, Jonathan Majors. Majors is facing charges of assault in the third degree in an intent to cause physical harm, assault in the third degree reckless, cause of physical injury, aggravated harassment in the second degree, and harassment in the second degree in connection with the alleged fight between him and Stephanie that spilled onto the streets in Chinatown in March. Now, as these text messages read, again, there's a lot of it that's out of context. It does sound completely horrible, just the way both of these situations is going. If I was just going off the text message by the People and I didn't know any other background information, I'll be devastated and say most definitely Jonathan Majors does sound guilty, even though those text messages completely out of context. There's no who. We know the who, but there's no why, there's no where. Where's the start of these text messages? Where's the end? How did she get those injuries? Why wasn't that explained? And Jonathan never admitted to hitting her. It could have been anything else. It could have been sexual or whatever, but that was never told. So I do have my regards, even though it sounds bad. And I'm going to tell you like this. If you're with a partner and it makes you feel like you want to, prune yourself out of existence, there's a hotline you can go get help. So please, if you feel like that, please call the domestic violence line, get in contact with somebody, get the help that you need. That sounds horrible. Now, let me get to the highlights of Danny. And this is going to bring everything home that should have been told in the People magazine article. All right, so this information comes from Danny Does Law, Policy and Practice. So we're going to get into it. This is all the highlights of what happened on day 8. So let's get into it. Witness number 5, Brandon Swain. Direct examination, 7 years experience, Manhattan's 10th precinct, domestic violence prevention officer. No formal training, was trained by previous holder of position. Testified he had a good amount of experience in a sector responding to 911 jobs. Testified that he has made 30 to 40 domestic violence arrests to date and has responded to hundreds, maybe thousands of domestic violence calls. March 25, 2023, called at 252 7th Avenue. Swain identified Jonathan in the courtroom as black suit, black tie, black jacket. Responded to Major's call at 11 a.m. as he was a few blocks away and it took no more than 5 minutes to get there. Testified that he met Jonathan in the lobby of the building. Testified he had watched the video again today. Exhibit 19, body cam footage just played with no sound. Jonathan is seen on the cell phone meeting with the officers. On the elevator, you can see Jonathan gesturing and talking to the officers. Inside the penthouse, Jonathan runs up the flight of stairs to the 3rd floor bedroom. They all enter the bedroom. Bathroom, and to the right is a walk-in closet with a white shelving system. Jonathan leads them into the closet. When asked about Stephanie's state of being, Swain says foggy and her speech was a little slow. When asked about noticing any injuries, Swain testified, I didn't notice any injuries. In the body cam footage, you can see Stephanie lying pinned straight with her feet facing the back wall of the closet. Jonathan is in the doorway and walks in and talking and gesturing. Eventually, you see Swain pulling Stephanie upright. When asked about her disposition, her demeanor, he stated she was a little overwhelmed and she's getting upset. Swain stated that she was sleeping and took a sleeping tablet the night before. Swain says Stephanie whispered, saying that she didn't want him, Jonathan, in the room at this point, and he wanted to make sure that he, Jonathan, was in a different room. Swain also testified that Stephanie seemed scared and that he asked her 5 to 10 times what happened, and that she was a little fuzzy and recollected what happened. At this point, you can see Stephanie sitting up on the floor of the closet crying with a blanket covering her lower half. When asked what usually happens in a situation like this, Swain testifies bare minimum. There was a domestic violence incident report that needed to be taken. Throughout the different parts of the video, you can see Jonathan talking to several different officers. EMTs are present, including Sergeant Hansen. Swain claims that he tried to inquire more with both parties, but when asked about what Sergeant Hansen was doing in the video with Stephanie, he stated he's touching his neck. It also is noted and confirmed by Swain that during the photographing of her injuries, Stephanie is pulling her shirt collar with her broken right middle finger to show her neck. It is also noted that she is fixing her hair with the same hand. Judge Gaffney gives an instruction stating that the viewing of the body cam was solely for the juries, viewing the actions of the police officers, viewing the demeanor of the complainant, viewing of the injuries. Swain testified that Sergeant Hansen is the one who would give approval in an arrest. I'm sorry, let me say that again. Swain testified that Sergeant Hansen is the one who would approve an arrest. Swain confirmed through testimony that Stephanie never used the word strangulation. Cross-examination, Swain testified that Stephanie was fully immersed in the closet. No part of her was in the bathroom. Remember, it was said she was located between the closet and the bathroom. He did not know that Stephanie texted Holly at 11:07 a.m. He arrived 11:20ish. That is, appeared that Stephanie passed out in the closet. When asked if he recalled asking Stephanie, did he hurt your finger, Swain answered, I might have said that. Swain was then given a laptop queued up to the part of the video where he's listening with earbuds. Looking like he saw a ghost, Swain confirms he said it, and that was Stephanie answered, I guess so. He also testified that she asked him several times why she was in the closet. When asked about Jonathan's torn coat, Swain's response, I didn't see it. Later on during the testimony, the video was played back showing Jonathan leaning on the bedroom dresser pointing to his jacket. It is revealed that Swain wrote in the police report that Stephanie suffered a small laceration behind the eye, to which he says, I did write that, and that it was not true. He signed the criminal court complaint saying the same thing, confirmed that it was under penalties of perjury. Swain also wrote in an accurate incident location on both of the aforementioned documents as being in the apartment when it was in the Escalade. Redirect. Swain says he spent 15 to 20 minutes with Stephanie. Swain says he didn't notice any injuries on Jonathan and that he never showed him any. Body cam footage is replayed showing Jonathan pointing to his jacket. Alright, so we have now heard from People magazines and the witness of Officer Swain and everything that happened in court on day 8. Now, I'm not going to sit up here in front and act like those text messages are not just damning as far as Jonathan Majors and what he was going through. But I'm also going to give, this is super out of context. Yes, it does sound horrible. Yes, it does sound something allegedly happened, but there was never, ever any mention that I did something. So for them to pull this up, to me, was more damning to his reputation than actually admitting guilt of, if anything, of him attacking, Stephanie back in 2022 of September. Now, the biggest headline of this is that the cops lied. And we've been saying this the whole entire time. The cops lied on this stand about Stephanie's injuries. They lied about what was going on that day, you know, even suggesting that Officer Hansen was touching his neck and saying, did he choke you? Did he choke you? You know, or it was, you know, did he do this to you? And her pulling her hair back with the hand that's supposedly to be broken, you know, and tucking her shirt without any injuries. And you know, for the cops to lie and say there was injuries and there was no injuries, and them not even looking at, you know, Jonathan's injuries, even though he's pointing to his coat, like, she ripped my coat, she scratched my skin, because we got pictures of that. We got pictures of his face. There was total neglect on the police officers and, you know, an illegal arrest. So that's just my thoughts. You know, today, as the date of this recording, the driver of the black Cadillac Escalade will testify today. If he goes one way or the other, will determine what I feel about this case, and I'm going to give you that when it happens. But what do you guys think? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell notification so you never, ever, ever miss one of my videos again. Until next time, I'll holler at you guys later. Peace and vibe higher.